Before we start, I want to reference a song that helped shape today's conversation. And it's a song by one of our own and an old student at Kunin Kumasi Academy, Black Sheriff, and his song, So It Goes. In the song, acceptance isn't about ease or reward. It's about pressure, about being misunderstood, and about continuing anyway. That idea matters here because for many autistic people, daily life involves constant negotiation. It involves the noises, the expectations, social rules, and environment that were never designed with them in mind. There is effort in things others don't notice. There is recovery needed after moments that looks ordinary in the eye from the outside. When autism is often discussed, the focus is often on deficit and sometimes inspirations. What gets missed is the quiet endurance, the effort it takes to keep showing up, and the permission it takes to rest without guilt. This conversation is not about overcoming autism, but rather it's about understanding how people see it and what those first impressions reveal. So as we talk today, one idea in mind, not as resignation, but as realism. So let's go back to where we started from, where last week we asked a question, and the question was ideal to promote people to interact in conversations and show their understanding of autism. And last week, the question we asked was, in one word, what comes in mind when you hear the word autism? People were invited to have their own sort of understanding and give us any word. There was no right or wrong answer to any of the answers that people gave. And after compiling all those answers, people came up with some words and shared some useful words such as overwhelm, diversity, challenge, unique, dependent, and layered. I want to pause here for a bit and think about these words. Particularly these words, they sit side by side for a reason. And the reasons being, some of them speak about difficulties, others speaks about differences, some speaks about strength, and others speaks about none of them are wrong. They reflect people's experience, exposure, and understanding. They show us the conversations about autism are starting in our community. Now, before we talk about education or change, we need to be honest about those starting points. And I want to try and reflect a bit on the words that people gave. And one of the words that stood out for me was the word layered, because autism is not one thing. It can involve challenge and potential at the same time. It can involve overwhelm and ability at the same time. So can it involve support needs and strength at the same time. When autism is reduced to a single story, people are misunderstood. When it is seen layered, then there is space for truth. This is why listening matters. Understanding does not begin with correcting people. It begins with hearing the words they use and asking what experiences sit behind them. Now, what I want to say as I am finishing this conversation, I want people to know and return to that first question. Think of it in one word. What comes in mind when you hear autism? First impressions matters. They shape how children are treated. They also shape how adults are spoken to, how support is either offered or not offered. Words like overwhelm and challenge reminds us that autism can be hard, whereas words like unique, potential, and diversity reminds us that autism is also about differences and values. And words like layers reminds us that no single word is enough. So I invite you to hold on your first impression lightly, make space for it to grow, and make space for learning. And then, more importantly, make space for people to exist without explanation. This is Adwene Nkomo. Adwene Nkomo is a podcast that engages in conversations among mental health and neurodevelopmental condition within our Ghanaian society. Adwene Nkomo, you can find us on all social media platforms, as well as listening to some of our educative podcasts on our YouTube and Spotify channels. Don't forget to subscribe as well as like the conversations and the podcast. Thank you so much for listening to us.